Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we're going to review MADiSON VR, a game that was released on the Steam store May 2nd, 2024 by developer Bloodiest Games. It normally retails for $34.99. It's on a release sale 15% off. I bought this game. I tested it out on the Meta Quest 3 using link cable. MADiSON is a psychological horror puzzle game where you use a Polaroid instant camera to help look into the beyond, and that'll help you find clues in order to solve the puzzles. MADiSON VR is the most terrifying horror game I have ever played in VR. I did come across some bugs while playing this game. However, the developers today updated the game and I believe they fixed all those issues except one. Some people came across an issue where their photos were turning up black and they would not develop. Apparently it's related to HDR in Windows being on. If you simply turn it off, then you can get around this issue, but the developers do plan on issuing an update later on to fix this issue as well. Since the developers were quick to address these issues and fix them, I will not hold it against them in my final review score, but I did experience some of these bugs and it did increase my playtime. It did take me about 11 hours to beat the game, but again, that was just facing some game-breaking bugs. For most people, this game will take about 6 to 8 hours. Beware though, it is a very horrifying game and I've heard some people actually quit because it was just too scary for them. Anyone who follows my channel knows that I do not scare easy at all, but this game had me terrified, and that's the main reason why I did put up with some of the bugs that I faced. MADiSON VR is running on the Unity engine. On my RTX 3080 I was getting mostly 90 frames per second, and I did end up running it on ultra graphics because of this, although I did have some frame rate drops and even a couple of micro stutters here and there, but for the most part it did run fine. You do have full locomotion along with smooth and snap turning. You can choose degree of turn or speed of turn. You can play comfortably seated or standing. You do have a button crouch along with magnet hands. Beware though, the crouch is only meant for reaching like low place drawers. They're not really meant for picking up stuff off the ground. That's what the magnet hands are for. Unfortunately, the use of the magnet hands or force grab here is a little bit frustrating. It's not as intuitive as like Half-Life Alyx. You have to stand at a certain distance and then do a whip motion and just make sure the item is selected. It's just a little clunky. You can also choose dominant hand in the settings, as well as whether you want camera movement to go with your face or with your left or right hand controller. Overall, the visuals were excellent and the game ran pretty well considering how well the graphics look, but I do have one complaint, and that is about just how dark the game is. In certain areas it was completely pitch black and I just could not see. I actually decided to walk backwards in some areas because there was some light behind me but not in front of me, and I would just back in until I stopped moving because I hit a wall, then turn, then go towards the light. Outside of that issue though, the lighting overall was excellent in this game. Great use of lighting to really bring in the scares in this game. The sound mix here was equally as excellent. As you guys know, sound is very important in VR, especially in horror games. So even when it was completely dark and I couldn't see, I could hear something going bump in the dark, and it was scary as hell. The voiceovers were excellent, the spatial audio was top notch, and the musical soundtrack really built a tension throughout. There are several jump scares throughout, but these are very smart jump scares. They're done with a lot of care and thought. These aren't just cheap jump scares, these are thoughtful ones. The story was excellent as well. It was terrifying throughout and it has a great ending, one that'll truly horrify you in VR. Now, I do not want to do any spoilers, so I'll just give a very brief synopsis of the story. You are Luca and you wake up after a horrifying event, and you as the player are not exactly sure what happened, but you see the aftermath and it is terrifying. You wonder if you're going insane or if you're demonically possessed, and you're basically just trying to survive. You're trying to find out the mystery of what's going on. Well, exploring this house of terror, and you basically just slowly devolve into madness as you figure out the mystery. The taking photographs mechanic here is done to create effect. It brings in the scares, but it's also a very useful tool to solving puzzles, forcing you to face your fears. The puzzles are very challenging. I was often stumped. You have to be very observant, and I have to be honest, I did look for some solutions online, and each time I did it, I facepalmed myself because the answers were right there staring at my face. I just missed them because, again, the puzzles were so smartly done. But again, really great game design, puzzles that are so well designed that fit well into the horror story. There's also just a great atmosphere in this game. There's good pacing. You have moments of respite from all the scares, and then the horror is amped up to 11. Now, besides the bugs, and again, I think they've all been fixed, I did have some other issues with the game. The biggest one, in my opinion, is the force grab mechanic. It's just not very good, but this goes along with most of the VR interactions. A lot of the VR interactions here are just a bit outdated. You can tell this is a VR port. There's a lot of highlight and grab, and you go up the stairs automatically, stuff like that. And having used other cameras in VR, I could say this one could have been implemented better with more VR mechanics that make it more immersive. I think actually looking through the viewfinder would have really upped the scares in this game. And I've already mentioned just how dark this game is, especially on LCD VR headsets. It really could have used some gamma settings. The last negative I'll mention is the inventory system. I really didn't like it. I think it would have been made better for VR, including maybe having a backpack system, and just make it easier to use these inventory items and move around with them. Overall though, I do highly recommend this game, especially now that it's been updated. Like I said, even though I face a couple of bugs, I'm not going to deduct from the final score because I believe they've all been fixed on my side. So I'm going to rate this game a great 8.5 out of 10. This is the best VR horror game that I have ever played. It is a must buy in VR in my opinion. It's currently on a mixed review status on Steam, but now it's the latest update. I believe all the issues have been fixed, and this is a must buy for everyone. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. I hope you found this video useful. Hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of the video.
It seems like he never finished. I can't take this anymore. I just can't. My whole body is going numb. Why is this happening to me? This must be a combination or something.